This week, I am in the throes of gearing up for summer. I don't know how, but another school year is coming to an end. And as of today, my children are officially on summer break, which is such a blessing. We always really, really enjoy spending the summer together. I love the more mellow mornings when we get to wake up and not rush right out the door. Spending time at the pool. I get a ton of summer reading done, which is super fun. My girls are great swimmers, and we have these beautiful city pools with lifeguards and water slides, and the kids love it, and I love it. And there's so many wonderful things about summer. But one of the challenging things about summer, of course, is that all four of my girls are home full time, and so my number one job as their mom, becomes a 24/7 job again, which is it has its challenges with it too. And so one of the things that happens is I am unable to write and do the work that I love to do and that I feel called to do, because of the demands of my family. So last summer was the first summer that I was really working and writing and creating content. And I had all of these grandiose plans that I was gonna, give my kids their books, and they were gonna sit down, and I was gonna work at the pool and get all this stuff done, and I was still gonna accomplish all these things. And by the end of the summer, I was so frustrated and disappointed and discouraged because I hardly got anything done. So, preparing to go into this summer, I knew that I was going to have just as many, if not more, demands of my family this summer. So I told myself, I am not setting any expectations for any writing this whole summer. I'm going to just be present. If I get some writing done, that's wonderful. If I go 2.5 months and I don't have any chance to make any progress on my books or anything, that's okay too. I'm going to give myself a pass. So I'm really proud of myself because I'm giving myself all of this wonderful grace. But inadvertently, what I had done was I set those completely unrealistic expectations for myself for the rest of the school year. So sometime back in April, I was like, oh, summer's coming. Oh my gosh, I have to get this done. 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 And I started making a to-do list that was absolutely unattainable for myself, thinking that by today, by the beginning of summer, I would have all these things done. And so earlier this week, what happened? I looked at my to-do list. I discovered how many things are not finished because I am not Wonder Woman and I cannot work 24/7. And I still have a lot of demands of my family and other things and other obligations in my life. And I allowed myself to get discouraged, and I could not believe it. So thankfully, by the grace of God, I was not trapped in that discouragement for very long, because I was able to recognize how ridiculous it is that I set unrealistic expectations for myself last summer and found myself falling short. So then instead of setting my expectations for last summer, I just moved that expectation deadline up to the end of the school year. I have to laugh at myself. God likes to show me those things, and he talks to me a lot through irony. He's like, Maria, do you see what you did here? And so I kind of laughed about it, and I was able to really overcome this discouragement quickly, because I have learned in the past couple of months and spent time meditating with this concept that discouragement is actually a sin, and it is a form of pride. And it doesn't feel like pride, and it doesn't necessarily look like what we think pride is. But what happens when we are discouraged is that we think we know what is best for us, what we should be doing, what we should be getting, what we should be accomplishing, how we should be behaving. Any of those, or, whatever our circumstances are, we should have or have gotten or have earned X, Y, and Z. And when we're not getting what we want and what we expect from our lives, then we allow ourselves to fall into discouragement. And so, actually, what we're saying is, I know better than God what's best for my life. I know better than God what I need or what I should be doing or what I should be getting, instead of very humbly accepting whatever our circumstances are. So in my case, I am working on humbly accepting that my book writing is just not going to be on a super speedy timeline. I cannot compare myself and how quickly I can finish a manuscript to some of my other author friends who do not have the demands of four children and a household and all of the wonderful blessings I have that take up a lot of my time. And so when I don't get as much done as I think that I should, instead of being discouraged, what I want to do and what I'm trying to do and what I'm working towards is humbly turning to God and saying, "Okay, Lord, I had hopes that by the end of this month I would have finished this manuscript and I didn't. And I surrender. I surrender to you and I accept that right now it's not supposed to be done. And so if you would like for me to keep working on this over the summer, then I trust that you will open windows of time for me and help me figure that out. But also, Lord, if you want this to go to the back burner while I am full time with my kids over the summer, I trust in that timeline too." It is not always easy, but it is absolutely the way that God calls us to live. And it's the way to let the peace of Christ really reign in our hearts when we surrender all things to Him and not be discouraged when things aren't going our way. So, if you are struggling with discouragement at all, and whether it's something you've been hoping for or praying for a long time and it's not coming to fruition, maybe like me, it's something that you put unrealistic expectations on yourself and you're not living up to it. Or even it can manifest in the way of us being discouraged with our repetition of sins. This can also be a manifestation of pride. So, again, remember that God allows us to struggle in our venial sins and our little sins to keep us little, to keep us dependent on Him, to keep us remembering that I'm not doing this with my own strength. I'm not doing this because I'm so great. I'm not doing this because I'm so holy. I need God. And so even when I fall into the same sins over and over and over again, I that is not grounds for discouragement. That is not a thing that I will let become a source of discouragement in my life, because my trust and my hope is in the Lord. And I hope that you can do the same. Do you ever struggle with discouragement? Do you have any awesome tips and techniques of how you get over your discouragement? I would love to hear about it. Leave a comment down below. That's all I have for you today. I'm Maria Riley, just a sinner in the throes of trying to be a saint.